Hi, this will be a tutorial on how I do Rupee roll and Gorge skip. A lot of different people do this in slightly different ways, and the way I do it, I don't think anybody else does exactly the same way. Not to say it's better than anybody else's, but I just thought it could be useful as a resource, though there are other resources on ZSR as well. So to start off, I'm just going to demonstrate the entire trick, and then I will go through it bit by bit, talk about all the little details. I'll go ahead and say I sometimes put on and take off the iron boots here. That's not at all necessary. That's completely pointless. Just for fun while I'm waiting on the boomerang. Alright, there you have it. Rupee roll and Gorge skip. First things first, to do this trick you need to have over 1 heart. You need to have 1.25 hearts or more. Otherwise, Link will be in his weary standing animation, like his low health animation when he's standing on the fence, and you won't have any frames to roll over it. The trick just does not work. So if you find yourself approaching this trick at 1 heart or less, so like you got hit as Wolf by one of the Shadow Beasts and then got Gorge Void, the most common thing to do is to go for a heart from here. Usually you'll get one, though it's not actually guaranteed. Alternatively, you could save warp if you really wanted to, or you could come all the way over here and pick up this heart piece. And then go attempt the trick. It's unfortunately pretty slow if you don't get a heart from the grass patch. But usually you don't need that. If everything has gone correctly, then you won't need to do that. So you want to dig up the rupee facing roughly this way. The idea is just to have the rupee visible from roughly over here. So if the rupee is like directly behind the tree from there, then that's no good. Even if you dug up the rupee completely the wrong direction, you can back that up by just making some extra targets, but don't do that. Just dig it up facing roughly this direction. And then, so I'm going to abandon the rupee, I'm going to let it time out. What I do from there is dash roughly towards this fence post. It's not terribly precise. Where I'm really heading, ultimately, is that white splotch right there on the ground. You get used to finding it. It is distinguishable from everything else. It just takes some practice. So yeah, just to get there quickly, what I do from digging is dash over to here, and then I transform just by pressing Z, not by going into first person and pressing Z. Going into first person and pressing Z is the fastest way to transform if you have Midna on your back, like I do right now, as Wolf. But what it does is keep the camera, one of the things it does is keep the camera facing the same direction it was already facing when you went into first person, which is useful in most cases. But in this case, I actually want the camera to pan around, because you see when that Midna text came up, I could see where the white dot was. It was visible. And like in theory, you can dash to exactly the right place, transform to human, and you're like, okay, great, I'll just turn around and do the targeting. I don't think I could do that reliably, so I don't even try. I just dash over here, press Z, the camera turns automatically during the transformation, and then I shuffle the white dot. So I'll demonstrate that, even though the rupee is already gone. So like that. Z transform, I can see the white dot already, and then I can easily get to it, right? So that's that part. And then the idea for the aiming, the boomerang aiming, is, so okay, this is the biggest difference between the way I do this and the way most people do this these days. This is a kind of older method of doing it, but I prefer it, and I personally am faster at doing it this way. So the other way, which I'll just briefly describe, is to target over here, which I'll talk more about in a sec, and then make at least one target like somewhere around here. You kind of aim up as high as you can in a small area here. There's a good picture of this that Maddie made on ZSR, showing exactly where you can target for this. You just target up there, and then when the rupee gets there, the timing is, very free. You have like a second to LJA or something when it gets there, but you have to target in exactly the right place. So you have to, the precision is in the aiming with that method. With the method that I do, the aiming is very lenient, but the timing is more precise. Sky took some frame data 8 years ago and found it was like a 5-frame window roughly. It depended, the exact number depended on exactly where the targets were, but roughly a 5-frame window. So let me show how I do that. Once I get on this white dot, I target on this fence. Oh yeah, the nice thing about this method is that you only aim horizontally. You never aim vertically at all. So on the white dot, target the fence behind the rupee. Anywhere will do as long as the boomerang will pick up the rupee. So you don't have to be like right on top of it. So target once over there. Then I'm going to target, I'm going to make 2 targets over here, 2 different places. The first one will be between this, you see that on the mountain, like behind the fence, there's this big black splotch, and then another black splotch here, or dark splotch, I guess. Anywhere between the outer bounds of those 2 splotches is fine. Again, only aiming horizontally. I know to demonstrate just now I was pointing up and down, but only aiming horizontally. And so like there would be fine. And then for the second target, I just kind of flick, I just kind of tap left, and I know I accidentally tapped a little bit down there, but just tap left and target. It doesn't really matter where the second target is as long as it's not way over here. So like if you want to, you can aim for the 2 being equidistant from this pole here or the tree or something, but it doesn't really matter all that much. So that's the goal. And then the idea is that I press A for the LJA when the boomerang is between these 2 targets. And you'll see when the boomerang gets to this target here, it'll do this kind of, like it'll reach it and then circle around it once, and then fly over to the other one. If you get used to how long that circling takes, then you want to press A right after the circling ends. And that's the way that I do this. I don't actually look at like the boomerang passing a certain area or anything like that. I just know how long it takes between the boomerang reaching that target and finishing its little rotation in place. Nighttime based on that. So it's kind of a feel-based thing. You probably could come up with a visual cue for it if you wanted to, but that's how I do it. And then if you time it right, then you'll get onto the fence. I guess I'll start over and use the actual rupee to demonstrate that. So digging up the rupee facing this way, running over here, Z transforming, I can see the white dot, and I'm just aiming horizontally. So in that range, so I targeted a little bit far left there by accident because I was trying to go fast, see how it works. Should be fine. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, like I said, the targeting is very lenient with this method. The one thing you want to make sure is that you don't target too far right, because then if you do, if you do target too far right, then when you do the roll that I'm about to demonstrate, Link won't be able to land on the ledge afterwards. There's just not enough ground collision too far to the right. So definitely want to be careful about that. Definitely. So for the roll part, this part's pretty easy. You just mash A holding left to roll left, and then at some point before, like at some point during the roll, just switch to holding like down right to make Link curve. Some people like slowly rotate. I think I might do that subconsciously, but it doesn't actually matter. You can just switch mid-roll. Like that. Oh, sorry, there was one thing that I forgot to mention, which was that during the LJA, right after pressing A, I started holding target before Link reached the rupee in the fence. That is actually important. It's not necessary, but it makes the camera the same every time, so that you always hold left when you're doing the roll from the rupee text, instead of potentially having to hold up left or something like that. It just makes it easier to be consistent with it. There's no reason not to do it. So you saw that after I did the roll part, Link landed over here, and he landed on 2 feet, so that was nice. If I had been a little bit farther to the left, then he would have grabbed the ledge, either with one hand or two. Well, I know that's normally random when you're coming from like claw shotting. I don't know exactly what the odds are for that here, but regardless, he'd grab. But then if you were, again, too far over to the right, there's just no ground collision to stand on there. So careful not to do that. I know it's to the left from this perspective, but too far to the right from this perspective. So that's how you get over here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say about the rupee roll part. No, I think that's about it. There are some odd cases where you can get the rupee text and like rupee slide down and fall into the fence collision. That happens, like I see a clip of that happening to someone every couple of years or something, but it's pretty uncommon. It's never happened to me. Yeah, so I'll do some more demonstrations of the whole thing at the end, so you can get a better sense of what that looks like, but I'll just move on for now. So I'll just set a teleport point here. This is roughly where you'd land, I think, maybe, somewhere around there. So from here, what I do, the goal here is to get over to this area, way over here, where you can LJA across. Unfortunately, LJing from anywhere else, as far as I can tell at least, doesn't quite get you enough distance to reach across. Alright, I have a teleport stop. So what I do is, oops, that's not what I do. I roll 3 times, pull out the sword, and walk or run, depending on where exactly the 3 rolls put me, to roughly the middle of this big white or light area, I guess. It's not precise, just, you know, somewhere around here. And then what I used to do here was like turn and roughly estimate the angle, and then base the rest of what I do on what angle I get, which is fine. Like, as you can see, it works. But what I realized was that I can do a pretty quick angle setup like that, and on average, it takes me less time to do that than to eyeball the angle. Oops. So I got a slash there because I had the boomerang in hand, which normally wouldn't be the case. So I just go in first person now. It's definitely not like optimal, but on average it is faster for me. So up to you. But here, let me show how I do that. So from again roughly here, I just turn around, go into first person, and aim right, and I just look at the left side of the camera approaching this fence post. You can see it's reached the fence post now. Really anywhere in, like, I think you can go anywhere from cutting this tree in half to the fence post. It's pretty lenient, which is why I was able to do it so fast, as you saw a minute ago. Like, I didn't stop and make tiny adjustments. I just kind of got roughly here and went. So yeah, that's that. And then from there, you just get out of first person, do 2 side hops, walk a little to the right, and then 2 more side hops, and you're here. I find that very, very reliable. And I'll do a little more demonstration so you can see how fast that can be done. Like, that was super far left compared to what I just said, but it still worked for getting over here. Now, the thing is, that angle, like, obviously I've preserved that angle across my side hops. That's how targeting works. So when I do my slash here to get away from the fence and then turn around and throw the boomerang, that affects where the boomerang is going, right? Because my angle was kind of far, well, I can't say left or right here because I've turned around, but it was, I guess when I did the C up, it was kind of far left. Like, it was over, or where was I? Oh, over here or something. And that means that when I turn around, the boomerang is going to go pretty far left of where I want to aim, roughly, which is there. I'm kind of turned around now. Hold on. Yeah, that's right. Okay. This fence post is around where you want to be. So I'll talk about this, and then I'll come back to how the first-person aim affects it, because it'll make more sense once I've talked about this. So the idea is, so first off, I did a slash there after the side hops just to push Link away from the fence, but not push him so far away that he fell off. Oh, that didn't work, but, you know, he will fall off here, and that's bad. There's no recovering that. And you can... It is technically faster to do a stab here instead of a slash, just because there are fewer frames of the animation before the sword clanks against the fence. But from certain positions, a stab can knock you off. Like that. But a slash, well, maybe it will. When I started trying doing it with a stab, I was often falling off. So, I don't know. You can try it if you want, but it costs 4 frames to do a slash. I'm not too worried about it. And then from here, I'll set another teleport point. The idea is that you want to LJA towards this. Now, you don't want to aim at this like I'm doing right now and throw the boomerang, because you get a short jump attack, because the boomerang was aimed down. That's the thing about LJA, is that the boomerang has to be like level or up to get the extra speed. So what some people do is like look at a visual cue, like you could look at the left side of the screen hitting that tree maybe. I don't know, I don't use a visual cue for that. What I do is just look at where the boomerang is going while it's going and judge when to LJA based on that. So if, for example, the boomerang were going straight towards this post, like it will if I just throw it now, then I just LJA as soon as possible so that like goes, you know, straight where the boomerang was going. But if the boomerang is like starting off too far to the left, then I would wait for it to start coming back, because it curves around to the right. It always curves around to the right. It never goes to the left. So, you know, I just gauge based on that. And I'll, in context, I'll show how I do that. If the boomerang is going too far to the right, you can't, like, it's not going to curve to the left, so the LJ won't work. You would void out. Don't do that. That's a guaranteed way to fail the trick. Yep, I couldn't even save it with teleport. And then, I don't know when else I would talk about this, so I guess I'll talk about it now. There is a case where you LJA and bonk off the fence, but close enough that you grab the ledge here, and then you're just kind of stuck on this side. There is a backup for this. It's also on ZSR, but I'll just go over it here quickly. You just kind of roll over here, LJA, and then you kind of align with this ledge, transform, and then you can dash and jump over. It's a pretty uncommon case, but it's good to know the backup. It's an easy backup. So I'll do a little bit more from this spot here. Or I should have sword out by now. So I'd go like there, side hop, side hop. Oh, right, sorry. So I can tell, part of how I do this is I judge how long I'm gonna have to wait for the boomerang to curve when I set this angle here. So like if I see my angle, if I notice when I'm exiting first person that my angle was kind of, my left side of the screen was aligned with the fence post like this, then I know that I just go straight, I LJ as soon as possible with the boomerang. That's what that angle is. Nice. So, that's good. But if I notice that my angle was like pretty far like that, then I know I'm gonna have to wait a little bit. So I don't actually adjust my aim. I just throw. I didn't wait long enough. Oh, nice. I got the example I was just talking about. Yeah, sorry, I didn't wait long enough for that example. Let me try to demonstrate that again. So I just do this, and I already know that I'm going to have to wait. So I just wait, and then I'm good. And you can... this takes some getting used to, because you do have to see it quickly. But, like, when I turn around and throw the boomerang here, you can see where it's going, right? There's a split second there where you can see unambiguously where it's headed relative to the fence. And I think it's a good idea to just practice getting used to that so you don't have to sit here and aim. But that might be a more reliable thing, especially if you're a beginner, so feel free to do that if you want to. I just don't have any visual cues to show for that because I don't do it that way. What else? I think that's basically the entire trick. So I'm just going to do some more demonstration rounds and talk about whatever comes up. I'll try to kind of talk through it as I go. So digging up the Rupee, pressing Z to transform, I can see the white dot. You could see it better if the data viewer weren't up, if this were an actual run, not on GZ. Targeting there. Notice I slowed down a little bit. Oh, again, the iron boots are useless. I slowed down my aim a little bit, just to make sure I was aiming in roughly the right spot. So I'm going to be able to jump right away, LJ right away, with this angle. Easy. Yep. Do some more. I can see the white dot. It was slightly off screen during the text. This camera movement too, completely useless. So yeah, I was just waiting for the boomerang to do its little turn. And yeah, I was a little bit farther to the left, I think, so I got the ledge grab. Once again, I'm going to be able to LJ right away. I can see the white dot. Remember to target after pressing 8 LJ. Once again, I'm going to go right away. I find that usually when I'm doing this, I can go right away. But again, if I notice that my angle is pretty far to the left, like I guess when I'm going out of first person, if I see that there's a big gap between the fence post and the left side, then if there's a huge gap, like I might just go back into first person and adjust a little bit. But usually it's fine. Like, yeah, let me see what the bounds are here. So if the whole tree is in view, like, yeah, that's gonna be bad. But you can, I think you can really cut off more. You might be able to cut off the entire fence post and be okay. No, okay. The bounds are pretty much what I said before. Yeah, pretty much what I said before. Go back to that. I don't know, I'll just do one more demonstration. Oh, actually, there's one other thing I do need to talk about after this demonstration. Red dot. Aiming only horizontally. Whee. This one will be another instant one. Okay. Yeah, I just want to emphasize again, like, moving the camera around while I'm waiting for the boomerang, putting the boots on, taking them off, it's completely useless. It's just a thing I do for fun. Like, I took the boots thing from Nimzo. What was the other thing? Oh, sorry, actually two things I wanted to mention. You'll notice that the way I'm approaching aiming this first target, or second target, I guess, since it's the only one that really matters, it's the least lenient one, is like I aim most of the way here holding into the notch, and then around, you know, here, somewhere around here, I'll just ease off of that a little bit so it's moving a little more slowly. But I try not to stop and try to, you know, target in a specific place, because, you know, I am trying to go fast. But, you know, like I've shown, it's pretty lenient. You really don't need to stop once you get used to it. And then, of course, this one is very lenient. And then, yeah, the other thing I want to mention, this has nothing to do with how I do it, but there's a backup rupee if you fail. Well, I guess I should say, if you fail the trick but don't get the rupee text, which does happen, that is a fail case for this method. You'll, like, LJA and kind of slide off the fence here and get the rupee midair so you don't get the text. If that happens, you can just void out over here and try again. If you do get the text, you need to save warp, otherwise you can't get the text on the next attempt. But before even voiding out, there's another dig spot here, and it can drop a blue rupee. See if it does. Nice. So the method here is basically the same, but you target the blue rupee and then the ground first. And it didn't work. So there are other resources for this backup. I'd recommend using them over mine, because I'm not used to doing it, because I'm just not used to failing this trick. So there. But I'm not really sure whether the blue rupee works with the horizontal aim method that I was just showing. It might only work with the aim up method. I don't know. Ideally, you never have to use that. And it seems like it wouldn't be that bad, but it's RNG, whether it's a blue rupee or not. And if you come back here and dig it up and just to find that it's not a blue rupee, then that's even slower than just restarting from the get-go. So that's unfortunate. What was that? Huh. There's something in the background. Do you see that? Like, it keeps appearing over there as I walk certain directions. Like a big black wall. Yeah, see that? What's the deal with that? Okay, anyway. I think that's all there is to say. Actually, I guess there's one other thing to say. If, for whatever reason, you are falling down here, the reason might be that you targeted too far right, so you're over here where Link can't land on the ledge, so he's falling down, or you were trying to roll over here and you weren't careful and you bonk. Then, as you can see, if you land down here, if you got Gorge Void and you land down here, then the trigger is still here. You will hit the trigger, and that will undo having gotten Gorge Void, which is very unfortunate. It's doubly unfortunate. You failed Rupee roll and unsucceeded at Gorge Void. Oh nice, the Boblin fell off in the background. If this happens, or if you see that this is going to happen, if you bonk and you see that Link is starting to fall, get rid of this. If you can react fast enough, pause and save warp midair so that you don't hit that trigger. Because that is really annoying when that happens. It's kind of hard to react fast enough sometimes if you don't expect it, but it's worth knowing anyway. Oh, there's that black box. You can see it very clearly. Huh. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Good luck.